Every morning I found another flat tire, and no one believed me without proof, until I planted a tiny camera by my parking spot. I live on the second floor of a standard 5-story apartment building. My name's Mark, I'm 28, and I work in digital marketing downtown. My daily routine is painfully predictable. Wake up at 6:45 a.m., grab a latte from the coffee cart downstairs, slide into my trusty hatchback by 7:15 a.m., and drive 20 minutes through morning traffic to the office. That car, my baby, is more than transportation. It's my weekend project. I detail it every Saturday, swap out parts, and even custom wrap the hood myself. I know every inch of that paint job, every note in the stereo, and I'd be devastated if anything happened to it. Across the hall lives my neighbor, Anya. She's quiet, reserved, big brown eyes, dark hair always pulled into a tight bun. People say she's beautiful, but I rarely see her smile. We exchange polite good mornings in the elevator, nothing more. I figured she kept to herself because she worked late shifts. I never imagined she'd have any reason to touch my car. Then came Monday. I climbed down the stairs after work and reached my parking spot, number 22. My chest sank when I saw the front left tire completely flat. No note on the windshield, no nail or shard glass in sight, just a smooth puncture. I sighed, called roadside assistance, and paid $80 to get it patched. I told myself, okay, unlucky day. Wednesday morning, same drill. Park at 7:15, head upstairs, come back at 6:30 p.m., and flat tire again. This time it was the rear right. I rubbed my temples, eyes scanning the asphalt for clues. Nothing. No security camera angle, no witness. I grumbled all the way home, thinking maybe someone had a grudge against my bright red hatchback. But who? I barely knew my neighbors. I limped the car to the leasing office the next morning. The manager, Janet, peered over her glasses at my 2 repair receipts. Mark, these punctures aren't covered unless we have proof of vandalism, she said, voice neutral. Without video or an eyewitness, you're responsible for all future repairs. I blinked, but someone's doing this on purpose. She shook her head. I understand your frustration, but policy is policy. She offered to move me to another spot if one opened up. I thanked her, but knew every space was claimed. This building's parking is a gold mine. Friday, my sleep was restless. I kept picturing someone sneaking around at night with a knife. I tried to rationalize. Maybe I ran over something sharp, but 2 flats in a week? Impossible. I spent my lunch break at a tire shop, asking mechanics if random debris could cause 2 perfect punctures. They laughed. You're being targeted, one said flatly. That stung. Saturday dawned with me, promising myself this ends now. I took the car out of the parking lot. Didn't want to wake up to another bill. By Sunday evening, I'd ordered a tiny Wi-Fi camera and planned my next move. But before that, I had to face Janet again. Monday, I showed up with 3 repair invoices. Her expression didn't change. Still no proof, she said. Repairs are on you. My jaw tightened. Ugh, fine. I'll get proof. I clenched my fists as I walked away, half ashamed for being outsmarted, half furious that someone thought they could mess with my property. That night, I lay awake plotting how to catch whoever was doing this. I didn't know what to do, laugh it off? Confront Anya directly. Accuse her? I barely knew her routine. All I knew was I couldn't keep paying for these flats. I wasn't just out $80 now. I was out over $200, and if this continued, I'd have a hole in my wallet and a dent in my pride. I spent Sunday afternoon scouring online forums. People recommended hidden cameras. I was skeptical, but I didn't see any better option. The only way to stop this was to record it myself. At least if I could show the footage, Janet would have to acknowledge it. And whoever did it, they'd think twice before striking again. So that's where things stand. Me, running on 3 flats in a single week, no idea who's behind it, an apartment policy that makes me pay up unless I can produce video proof. I feel helpless and pissed off in equal measure. My car is my sanctuary, and right now it feels like a target. I've never hunted a vandal before, but I'm about to learn, and I won't stop until I catch them red-handed. I haven't slept through an entire night. since that third flat tire. Every creak of the building, every distant siren, even the slightest hum of my AC unit sets me on edge. I lie in bed staring at the ceiling, willing my mind shut off, but it just won't stop replaying the image of my hatchback, with its sidewalls crushed on the cold asphalt. The thought of parking there again makes my stomach twist. By midnight, I'm tossing and turning, checking the clock every hour. 12:01, 1:15, 2:36. Each time I peek out the window, I expect to see someone skulking around the lot with a tire iron. My phone is locked in my hand with the camera app ready, like recording my own anxiety might somehow stop it. When I do drift off, it's only for a few minutes before a nightmare wakes me. I'm back in the parking space, kneeling beside my car, flashlight in one hand, a serrated blade in the other. In the dream, I'm too slow to react. By the time I look up, the figure is already turning the knife toward me. I wake up sweating, heart hammering at 100 beats per minute, gasping for air. I shove the covers off and pace the room like an animal in a cage. The mornings are the worst. My alarm goes off at 6:45 a.m., and I roll out of bed, shoulders tight, chest constricted. I feel a tremor every time I button my shirt, like I'm vibrating from the inside out. My hands shake so badly that the coffee mug rattles against the counter when I pour the first cup. I stare at the yellow liquid as if it's going to tell me what to do next. Walking downstairs is no relief. My sneakers slap against the tile floor, each step echoing through the empty hallway. By the time I reach the lobby, I'm already sweating under my collar. I taste metal in my mouth, fear, or maybe it's just nerves. I swipe my fob, and the doors is open. Even before I see my car, I can feel the knot in my gut tighten, bracing for the worst. I round the corner and see my hatchback parked exactly where I left it. My shoulders relax for a split second, until I notice the front bumper is slightly angled, like someone bumped it. My heart flips over, and I have to grip the door handle with both hands to steady myself. The bump turns out to be nothing, a stray stick or a misaligned parking maneuver, but my reaction tells me I'm already fraying at the edges. Work offers no respite. I sit at my desk, fingers hovering over the keyboard, but unable to type more than a few lines before my vision blurs. Every Slack ping sends my pulse spiking. Did you have car trouble this morning? Friends ask. I lie and say I hit a pothole. The lie tastes bitter, but I don't want them to worry or worse, think I'm paranoid. My mind keeps drifting back to one thought, revenge. I catch myself researching tire ironing laws online, reading about the civil penalties for vandalism. I imagine confronting Anya in the hallway. Nice shoes. Did you get them from my tire shop tab? I picture her flinch, with no comeback. But then I wonder, is that enough? Would a confrontation satisfy the rage building in my chest? Sometimes I replay the conversation with the leasing office in my head. Janet's calm voice. Without proof, the repairs are on you. Those 6 words have become my mantra. Without proof, without proof. I snarl them under my breath, letting the anger fuel me. How can a building full of tenants, all under one roof, have no one witness a single incident? It makes no sense. Whoever is doing this doesn't care about rules or consequences. The physical symptoms escalate as the week wears on. My hands tremble whenever I lift my morning mug. My left knee bounces uncontrollably during meetings. I notice I've started clenching my jaw so much that my molars ache by Friday. Even my hair feels like it's standing on end, prickly with tension. I've taken to wearing my sunglasses indoors to hide my twitching eyelids. People ask if I'm tired. I shrug and say, yeah, long week. Truth is, it's more than fatigue. At night, my thoughts swirl. Should I set a trap? Buy a camera? Confront her directly? The logical part of my brain knows cameras cost money, and installing one in a shared building is a gray area. But the emotional part screams, catch her red-handed or never rest again. I find myself scrolling through Amazon listings for mini spy cams, reading user reviews. Nice footage at night. Battery life is crap. Discreet design. As I click add to cart, I feel a rush of relief. Finally, a plan. Still, there's a voice in my head whispering doubt. What if it's not Anya? What if you're jumping conclusions? I hate that voice. It's like a tiny drill boring into my resolve. I fight it off, telling myself, how can you sleep knowing your car is getting ruined every 48 hours? I'm not the victim of random misfortune anymore. I'm being targeted, and I owe it to myself to stop it. By the weekend, the camera arrives in a nondescript box. I open it with shaking fingers, charge the battery, and feel a flicker of excitement. I tell myself this isn't about vengeance as much as self-defense, protecting what's mine. But underneath that, a darker thrill pulses. She'll see my footage and regret ever messing with me. As I install the camera on Sunday night, tucked inside an existing utility box, my hands tremble so violently I nearly drop it. I catch myself and whisper, "You've got to film this." I plug it in, angle the lens just right, and test the live feed. There it is. A perfect view of Spot 22. Everything else blurs into the background. For the first time in days, I feel something close to calm. Lying in bed that night, I still can't sleep. But now it's different. My mind is busy planning what comes next. Wait. Capture. Expose. I roll over and glance at my phone. Camera app open. Recording. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. Tomorrow, I'll either end this nightmare or prove I wasn't losing my mind. Either way, I'm taking back control. And that thought carries me through until the first light of dawn. After another sleepless night and a fourth flat tire that I almost didn't notice until my steering wheel wobbled on the highway, I knew it was time to stop guessing and start catching. I couldn't keep paying for random punctures when New York City parking spots go for $200 a month. So I made a decision. I was going to record whoever was doing this, live, buying the mini camera. On Monday morning, bleary-eyed and jittery from too much coffee, I opened my laptop and searched for mini Wi-Fi spy camera. I read a dozen listings. Half the cameras had poop-brown plastic shells or blinking LEDs. So bright they'd give away the game. Finally, I found one in matte black. Palm-size, zero visible lights, night vision capable, and rated for outdoor use. Total price including overnight shipping, $35. I clicked buy now and felt a weird thrill. This was the first step toward taking back control. By the time I got to work, I'd received a shipping confirmation. Your Minicam V2 ships today? I actually smiled. For once, I had a plan that didn't involve more tire shops or angry emails to the management office. Staging the installation. That evening, I arrived home early, camera in my bag. I told Janet in leasing that the hallway light by the stairwell had been flickering again, and I asked if maintenance could look at it. Sure, she said, but it might be a few weeks. Our electrician is booked solid. I nodded, hiding the real reason I brought a tiny screwdriver and some zip ties. Once inside the stairwell, I set my backpack on the floor, pulled out the minicam, and replaced a single screw on the old light fixture cover. I quietly unscrewed the cover plate, clipped the camera behind it, so the lens poked out just below the glass panel, and aimed it straight at parking spot 22. I tucked the wires under the mount, slapped the cover back on, and used a bit of clear tape to mask any scratches. If anyone looked closely, they'd think the fixture was just a little dusty. Then I crouched down, opened the camera's AR app on my phone, and checked the night vision feed. Perfect view of my hatchback. Nothing else in frame except a sliver of the sidewalk. Ideal. I sealed the cover with a dab of silicone putty so it wouldn't rattle, then climbed back down. My heart was racing, but for the first time in weeks it wasn't from fear. It was from excitement, collecting and documenting chats with management. Before I went to bed, I opened my email and Slack to pull up the conversations I'd had with Janet. I scrolled through. Janet leasing office, without proof of vandalism. Repairs are on you, Mark. Me, but I have 2 flat tires in a week. Any camera footage from outside? Janet, sorry, building cameras don't cover the parking bays. Me, thanks. I'll figure something out. Me, next morning, now it's 3 flats. Please rear view any footage you can. Janet, still no usable video. You might consider your own security measures. I took screenshots of each exchange, timestamped, clearly showing the date and the without proof line that would justify my actions later. I saved them to a folder labeled evidence on my desktop. If anyone ever questioned why I installed a camera, I'd have these screenshots to show that the building management explicitly told me only video proof counted. I spent the next hour tweaking settings on the camera: motion detection sensitivity, night vision IR level, alerts to my phone. I powered it from the hallway light circuit, so it would run all night, no battery changes required. Then I crawled into bed around midnight, phone in hand with the live feed open, ready to watch the feed until the sun came up, waiting for the culprit. Instead of falling asleep, I watched the dark stairwell light glow softly in the app's preview window. I couldn't settle. Every passing second felt like a jolt. At 1:12 a.m., a cat walked across the parking space, paused to sniff my tire, then darted off. At 2:07 a.m., a car passed by on the street, headlights washing the lot in white light, but no human figure. Just me, half asleep, eyes glued to a tiny screen. When 3:33 a.m. rolled around, I felt my lids droop. My plan hinged on being awake, but adrenaline was ebbing fast. I considered setting an alarm for 1-minute intervals, but that felt ridiculous. Instead, I clicked record all night and prayed the motion trigger would catch whoever came back. At 6:15 a.m., my phone buzzed with a motion alert. My heart exploded in my chest as I tapped the notification. The app showed a timestamp, 3:59 a.m. I skipped the recording forward. There, in green-tinged night vision, was Anya, coat up, leaning over my front left tire with something shiny in her hand. She jabbed at the rubber twice, then walked off into the shadows. I watched, mouth open, as she disappeared from view. My fingers shook so badly I could barely click export clip. I saved the video to my phone, then grabbed screenshots of the key frames. Her face in partial shadow, the hand holding the tool, the unmistakable puncture. I backed everything up to Google Drive and my thumb drive, then wiped my phone's buffer, so no one would find it if they snooped. That moment, seeing Anya on camera, was my vindication. All the late nights, the jittery mornings, the frustration with Janet, and the building policy, it had led to this. I finally had proof. But even as relief washed over me, a second wave of adrenaline hit. Now I had to decide what to do with it, and I knew I wasn't done yet. I spent the rest of the day in a weird daze. Couldn't focus at work. Kept glancing at my phone to make sure the camera was still online. Every 10 minutes I'd open the Minicam app, see the live feed of the dimly lit stairwell and my hatchback part below. If the Wi-Fi cut out, I'd get an alert. But all day there was nothing. Just the same silent hallway and the empty lot. By 8 p.m. I was back home. I locked my apartment door, plugged my phone into the charger, then slipped the device into my pocket so I could check alerts without drawing attention. I grabbed a snack and settled on the couch, keeping the app open. At 9 p.m., I saw a brief glitch in the feed when the building's maintenance cart rolled down the corridor, but the camera recovered. No big deal. I told myself I just needed to stay patient. Around 10:45 p.m., I started feeling jittery. My hands were trembling, partly from caffeine and partly from nerves. I kept a glass of water at my side, but it took 4 sips before I realized I hadn't even tasted it. Each time my phone buzzed a new email or message, I glanced at the app, still nothing. Then at exactly 11:02 p.m., my phone vibrated with a motion alert. My heart jumped into my throat. I tapped the notification, and the live feed switched to a recording time-stamped 11 p.m. I pressed play. The footage was a bit grainy, but clear enough. There she was, Anya, hoodie up, head down, walking silently down the stairwell. She paused at the bottom step, glanced around as if to check for witnesses, then slipped through the doorway into the parking lot. My pulse pounded as I watched her approach my hatchback. She crouched by the front left tire, reached into her pocket, and pulled out a thin, silver tool, probably a tire plugger or a small knife. She jabbed it into the rubber twice. The wheel stopped moving, but you could almost hear the hiss in the night vision clip. She stepped back, straightened up, and walked back toward the stairs. Same methodical pace, no hesitation. I sat frozen, phone in my hand. The whole thing lasted maybe 10 seconds, but it felt like 10 minutes. My jaw clenched so hard I thought I'd break a tooth. I replayed the clip 2 more times, zooming in on her face under the hood. Even with the shadows, I could make out her features. The arch of her brow, her sharp nose, the way her ponytail swung as she turned. There was no doubt it was her. By midnight, I had the clip saved in 2 places. My phone's internal storage in a hidden folder on my laptop. Then I went to bed, but sleep didn't come. My mind raced. What if she denies it? What if she accuses me of setting her up? What if she tries to retaliate? I tossed and turned until the first light seeped under my blinds. At 6:15 a.m., I bolted upright. My phone buzzed with 4 notifications. My camera was still recording, and I'd gotten 2 new motion alerts. But I didn't care. I grabbed my phone and watched the saved clip one last time. Seeing her face in that frame made it real. I showered, quickly dressed, and headed downstairs with my heart hammering. In the lobby, I tapped into the building's WhatsApp group. The chat was already active with morning greetings and reminders about upcoming maintenance. I paused, then uploaded the video clip with a caption. Guys, this is what's been happening to my car. I have 3 repair bills totaling $240, but this video shows its vandalism. Please let me know how we proceed with reimbursement. I've also filed a report with the precinct. Within seconds, blue ticks appeared next to my message. A few roommates responded immediately. Holy, did you record that? Unbelievable. That's definitely vandalism. I'll forward this to the manager. Yikes. Someone should call the cops. I felt a rush of relief seeing those replies. For once, I wasn't the only one looking at a damaged tire and thinking it was my fault. The group chat exploded with supportive messages and screenshots of my evidence. Next, I opened the email app and drafted a report to the local precinct's non-emergency line. I attached the clip, included the time and date stamps, and wrote, I am a tenant. Over the past week, my tires have been punctured 3 times. I installed a surveillance camera on the landing. I am attaching a clear video showing the vandal, identified as my neighbor Anya K., who occupies Landing A and punctured my tire on November 5th at 11 p.m. Please advise me on how to proceed. I hit send and leaned back, trying to steady my breathing. I waited for the confirmation email ding, which came within 2 minutes. Case opened. An officer will contact you within 48 hours. Thank you for providing video evidence. It felt surreal, like filing a police report on a crime that personally affected me, but had dragged on so long it had become normal. Now it was official. The building management, the neighbors, and the police all had the same video proof I'd studied on repeat at 3 a.m. By 7:20 a.m., I was in my hatchback, pulling out a Spot 22 for the last time. The tire was still flat, but now I wasn't afraid. I had documentation, witnesses, and a case number. I'd walk back in later with an official police report and demand reimbursement. As I drove off, I thought about Anya. If she ever gets caught on camera again, it won't be a good look. I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. After 2 weeks of stress and expense, I finally had the evidence I needed. I felt satisfied, relieved, and oddly proud that my DIY approach had worked. When I got home that evening, I'd have to swap the tire again. Luckily, my insurance agreed to cover the next repair once I provided the police report. But I didn't care about the money anymore. What mattered was that I'd straightened things out, taken back control, and sent a clear message. Don't mess with someone else's property without expecting the consequences. By mid-morning, my phone was buzzing nonstop. As soon as I posted the clip in our building chat, neighbors started reacting. People I barely knew sent me thumbs-up emojis and messages, saying it was about time someone caught the culprit. A handful of residents even shared screenshots in our wider neighbors group, where comments ranged from shock to relief that the mystery was finally solved. One mom wrote that she had been worried about leaving her kid stroller by the car. Another guy said he was sick of hearing about flat tires every few days. Everyone agreed that parking in our lot was supposed to be safe, not a nightly risk. At around 11, I got a call from the leasing office. I braced myself, half expecting another lecture that I'd violated building rules by installing that camera. Instead, Janet told me they had watched the footage and agreed it showed deliberate vandalism. They plan to issue a formal notice to the tenant responsible and demand reimbursement for all repair costs plus an administrative fee. My heart sank when she mentioned the total would come to over $500, but I felt better knowing I would not be paying a dime. Finally, the building was taking me seriously. Shortly after lunch, I received an email from the police department. An officer had reviewed my report and video evidence and filed a vandalism warning against the person caught on camera. They let me know the warning carried potential misdemeanor charges if there were any further incidents. Reading those words gave me a chill, but also a sense of safety. I knew that the next time someone came near my car with a blade, law enforcement would be involved immediately. Back in the group chat, management posted a scanned PDF of the notice they sent to Anya. It listed the 3 dates of tire damage, the repair amounts, and the added penalty fees. They gave her 10 days to pay or face small claims court. The reaction in the chat was almost therapeutic. Neighbors expressed relief that at last a vandal would be held accountable. A few offered to help cover the legal filing, if it came to that. I fired off a quick thank you to everyone for their support. Our building Facebook page lit up too. Comments flowed in, expressing everything from disbelief to schadenfreude. One user said it was poetic justice. Another suggested we install more cameras around the lot. A third commented that now he felt safe parking his classic car on our property. I felt a strange mix of gratitude and embarrassment. I had never set out to be a building hero, but seeing so many people rally behind me reminded me how alone I had felt during those first flat tire mornings. That evening, management announced a tenants' meeting to discuss improved security measures. They planned to install additional lights, widen the camera coverage, and post signs warning against vandalism. The meeting was mandatory, but I didn't mind showing up. I wanted to see the community come together and make sure this never happened again. I also knew I might run into Anya, but at least then I could see her response face to face. The next day, I overheard 2 neighbors whispering as I passed. They congratulated me on catching the vandal and praised me for handling it without direct confrontation. It felt odd to be the center of attention, but better than being the hapless victim. A few people even waved as I walked by, smiles on their faces instead of the pity I had grown used to. On the 10th day, I received confirmation that Anya had paid the full amount to management. They sent me a receipt showing the 3 repair costs and the penalty fees, all covered by her. That afternoon, the police emailed me again to say the case had been closed. No charges filed since the victim had been made whole. I sighed in relief. It was over. Looking back, I realized how much stress this had caused in my life. I spent sleepless nights worrying about my car, jittery mornings bracing for a new flat, and anxious days calculating repair bills. I had felt powerless when management insisted on proof before taking action. But by taking matters into my own hands, I forced the system to work in my favor. I had turned frustration into results and restored my peace of mind. In the weeks that followed, I parked in spot 22 without a second thought. The lot felt safe, almost peaceful. I still detail my hatchback every Saturday, but now I do it with a smile instead of dread. The camera is still up in the stairwell light fixture, but I've never once checked the feed since Anya paid. It's there more as a reminder that I have options and that I won't be an easy target again. Sometimes I catch Anya in the hallway. She nods politely but avoids eye contact. I cannot blame her. I imagine she has learned that messing with someone's property can have serious consequences. For me, the memory of racing to save that video clip will always stand out as the night I stopped feeling helpless. I hope this story encourages others to stand up for themselves and not wait for someone else to step in. Because in the end, justice often begins with a single action and the determination to follow through. The morning after Anya paid the full amount felt surreal. I walked downstairs, unlocked the car, and slid into the driver's seat without that familiar pit in my stomach. No more inspecting tires for leaks. No more pacing around spot 22 to make sure nothing was wrong. It was just me, my hatchback, and the open road. Everything finally back to normal. Parking lot mornings are usually a drag. Cold asphalt, glare from overhead lights, the rush to get to work before traffic jammed the streets. But this time, I glanced at my tires, said a quick thank you under my breath, and went inside for my coffee with zero anxiety. That simple change, being able to leave my car overnight without fear, was worth more than any refund or penalty fee. It felt like reclaiming a piece of my life that I'd lost for weeks. On my drive to the office, I found myself smiling at red lights. Even a 10-minute commute felt less stressful. I didn't dread pulling into the lot after dark. If anything, I felt a lightness in my chest, like the weight of those sleepless nights had lifted. It's funny how much mental space property damage can steal. Now, instead of calculating repair costs or scanning camera feeds, I could focus on work, friends, or even planning a weekend road trip. I won't deny it. I felt a twinge of pride, not the kind you brag about, but the quiet satisfaction that comes from knowing you did the right thing and whoever targeted you got what they deserved. My approach wasn't about revenge, exactly. It was about standing up for myself and making sure no one else would fall victim to the same nonsense. And it worked. That knowledge stuck with me all day, reminded me that I'm capable of protecting what matters to me. In the break room, a couple of neighbors who happened to work in my office popped in for coffee. They congratulated me again. "Glad you got it sorted." One said, "Parking here should feel safe." The other added. We shared a laugh about how ridiculous it was to live under the threat of slashed tires. Their support felt genuine. Proof that when a community bands together, it can drive out the worst among us. Rumor had it that Anya was quiet around the building after that. I didn't see her in the hallway for a week or two. Then one afternoon, as I was unloading groceries in the lobby, she passed by carrying her own shopping bags. She hesitated, then looked me in the eye and said, "I'm sorry. I won't touch anyone's things again." Her voice was low and sincere. I nodded and replied, "Thanks." That was it. No long apology speech. No excuses. Just a quick acknowledgement that we'd both move on. A few neighbors told me later that they overheard her telling someone, "I messed up and now I know better." Whether she really felt remorse or just wanted the drama to end, I can't say. But hearing those words, even secondhand, felt like the final piece of closure. It confirmed that the message got through. You don't vandalize someone's property and walk away unscathed. At home that evening, I sat on the couch and ran to the whole saga in my head. The first flat, the hopeless feeling in the leasing office, ordering that camera, the thrill of watching the footage, and finally the relief of resolution. It read like a movie script, but it had happened to me, and that made it real. I realized how much I'd grown from the experience. I'd gone from feeling powerless and angry to feeling capable and assertive. In a way, this ordeal taught me a valuable lesson about taking action instead of stewing in frustration. Now, whenever I park my car, I still give a quick look around. Old habits die hard, but it's no longer tinged with dread. It's casual, the way you glance at the weather before locking the door. And that difference makes all the difference. I got my freedom back, and it feels good. Sometime next weekend, I'm planning to clean my hatchback. A thorough wash, a fresh coat of wax. But this time, instead of rushing through it because of worry, I'll take my time. Maybe crank up some music, sip a cold drink, and enjoy the satisfaction of a job well done. Because now, whenever I run my hand along that shiny paint, I won't see scratches or dents. I'll see a story standing up for myself and winning. So here's the takeaway. If you ever find yourself stuck in a loop of damage and doubt, remember that sometimes the best way forward is to gather the facts, make a plan, and act. It doesn't have to be dramatic. Mine involved a tiny camera and a group chat, but your tool might be different. The point is, don't let fear or frustration hold you hostage. Take back your space, your peace of mind. And yes, maybe even park your car without checking the tires. Because every day should start with the freedom to go about your routine. Not the fear that someone's out there waiting to puncture anyone's sense of security. And trust me, that kind of relief is worth all the effort it takes to get there.